Oh, wow. I was thinking a little bit different of a route where they just go for like a saving hero as a position 3, like a Legion. I know the matchup against OD is not the greatest because of the duel, but if you're speaking about the press the attack aspect and what it can provide, then it just gives a little bit more of a freer game, especially for the Storm Spirit. And if the Monkey is a 1, maybe allowing him to get BKB and Wukong's off. But they go for a hero that's... You're lacking a little bit of team fight pull. You got Mortimer Kisses, you've got Wukong's as well, but a way to initiate AoE. So now the Tide being picked up, and it's very difficult to burst him down. I do as well.
I like the Tide, yeah. I mean, it's against all these stuns, right? Kraken Shell, great against it. And a very underrated aspect of having the Tide Hunter is just the anchor smash, because you're up against a Wraith King. Obviously, it's good against the Wraith King, but the big thing for mine is some easy, low cooldown way to deal with those skeletons that are going to be very pesky, constantly trying to shove out waves and prevent you from actually making the moves that you want to do on the map. So I really like this Tide Hunter pick.
So we're now looking for probably the position 5 for MY with their last pick. Is there maybe something that stands out that could make this lane a little bit more difficult for the Tide into the Wraith King at the moment?
Sorry, I just saw that Marana and I got some PTSD from my last part of the position 5 Marana. It was not good. I mean, they've got plenty of stuns, right? They just need something that's going to be able to... Just trying to think, right? Like, I want them to pick something that isn't just dead if they jump onto it, right? Like, something that is quite survivable. Wouldn't even hate to see something like the Abaddon for themselves either, to be perfectly honest. Like, a Tide ravages you. You just pop the Borrowed Time and a Photic Shield off whoever you want.
That might 100% in greens. Like, that's a great way to deal with the Tide. I wonder then if you're just playing into like a pretty passive lane, like Abaddon, Wraith King, double melee, sounds like you might not be able to really pressure like a Tide Snapfire or a Tide Monkey. Because then if you got double melee, you could potentially flex the Monkey King and still go for another position 1. But the Monkey naturally feels pretty good versus the Wraith King in general, like a carry-to-carry matchup. So there's a lot of options here for Polaris heading into this last phase.
It does, but, you know, against the Mars, it's not as great, I suppose. Like, it's a Monkey King Mars is a solid matchup for sure, but you're always going to have that Spirit Wave. They might even be able to force flex this Mars into mid, for example, and put the OD into the off lane, which if you get really aggressive on the OD, you can punish it, but if you stay and be a bit passive and let him get up to level 3, level 4, it becomes a whole lot more difficult for that.
When we see, at least for MY, they're taking into consideration of the flex. They've gotten rid of the lifesteal and the line, and for them, they're going to go into an Undying. So a second way to anchor fights now with the Tombstone and the Arena, and they do go double melee, but it's a good way to deal with the Tide Hunter in regards to the Decay.
It'll be nice with Tide and Snapfire, right? If the Snap ends up being in position 4 this game. Double strength heroes that Undying's going to be good against. And it kind of fulfills that priority that I was saying before, right? Something that doesn't just instantly die. Undying's a strength hero. As long as you've got even just half a second to press your R, you've got a lot more HP. You can drop the Tombstone, quick Soul Root, quick Decay, and then you're surviving for a good at least 5 seconds. And that's really all that you need to allow the rest of the team to be able to get in position.
Now, we were speaking a little bit before about the saving supports. Do you still feel like Polaris could go into that? Like, I know Omni and Oracle both feel really bad right now, but this is a game where you could experiment. Do you see them somehow trying that, or just still no?
I mean, for mine, my main concern right now is that Polaris don't have an easy way to take towers. Like, Monkey King is decent at it, and this doesn't really help, but they're going to go Rubik instead. I want to see what these lanes are looking like for them. So it's going to be Natsumi Monkey King into the Mars, BB playing the mid lane for MY. How do I feel about this? Like, it's not the strongest offlane for Polaris. Like, the Tide Hunter Rubik, it's not great. Like, you're not going to be killing too many people, and you're going to guarantee that this Wraith King farms. Stylist and Seri, that'll be a decent enough lane. I don't know. I kind of like MY's draft, to be perfectly honest. What do you reckon?
Yeah. I'd probably give it like a slight advantage.
Good stuns. They've got good ways to take towers. They've got good Roche potential. What's lacking?
They've got strong lanes as well, which I think is always a big factor. OD should have a good time versus Storm because they have the low attack range from Lelouch. I feel like this game's going to really come down to execution, but I would probably give MY the slight draft advantage. I was thinking with the Undying last pick, like maybe Polaris, even though it is a double strength lane with the Force and Mavis Snap Tide. But I wonder, like, you go Gush and you go Lil Shredder, and because Undying being a strength hero, maybe you can actually man fight him. So I was considering if they could still try and flex that. But now with the Rubik, like you're saying, like it's not the greatest laner. It has been nerfed over time. And there's not the greatest abilities to steal as well. So I'm a bit surprised they've gone into this. Do you feel like there's something that he could, something that Rubik provides that we're not really seeing though?
Maybe eventually you get something like the Aghanim Shard and you're able to,
That's true.
lift people up out of the arena. Might be quite nice. I mean, the other thing that I'm looking at is that with this Snapfire and Monkey King lane, it's very aggressive and you're able to consistently kill heroes like the Mars, for example, or if you get onto the Mirana before she's level 2, very easy to pick up that first blood for Natsumi when you don't have the leap available.
Yeah. And just so you guys know, we're got a bit of a pause right now, so we still got our faces on screen, but we'll see. This shouldn't take too long. Of course, first game in for the closed qualifiers, always you need a bit of a pause for either teams to get situated before we can kick this off. So for MY, there we go. We are, it looks like getting back underway, so we'll jump on over. I'm excited to see how MY is able to fare with Stylus as well. I know just before we jumped in, we were kind of speaking about this as a player we're not as familiar with in regards to everyone else. Like MY, they've kind of stuck with this roster for a decent amount of time, like familiar players that have some experience together, but intrigued to see how Stylus can really fit into this team.
And I always have a bit of a soft spot for Seri Perry as well. He's got a good relationship with a lot of the Oz players, so I'm keen to see him get some success on the board for himself.
All right, so yeah, we were both kind of saying MY might have like a slight draft advantage. Are we going to edge their way in this game one, or do we still feel like Polaris maybe has what it takes to out-execute them?
It's so hard to go against Polaris when they went undefeated in Division 2. But MY, they've drafted really well to be able to get this nice break there by Force.
If I go in, I might die. If I go in, I might die.
Yeah, definitely. With
fitting voice line.
I mean, we see the players have kind of. I really wonder if they come into a game, they swap it up depending on who they're versing. It's the mental warfare that feel like definitely starts to take a toll.
I'm always looking out for whatever, what would you call it, like a suffix at the end of each player's name. Lelouch's got a normalish one like Yanny B, it's just a little thing. Force has one, Yikes, and we've got Give Me Rust Skin on Xavier. So clearly when he's not playing Dota, he's playing a bit of Rust.
Yeah, well, we see like Army Geniuses, some of them have their like girlfriends' names or something like that. So it's interesting to see.
Players just have girl name.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, is that deep? It might be DB, actually. I'm trying to remember. I think we actually get to cast Army Geniuses in the next series. I believe they're versing Lil Gun, so that's going to be a battle where we really see, for quite some time through Southeast Asia, just Army Genius, Lil Gun battling it out. But, of course, that's the latest series. It's already starting off very well for Polaris. It's a 1 for 3 in regards to the bounties, but Xavius does secure the D ward up on the higher ground, so at least giving them now an opportunity to go back and stack up the triangle without being under vision.
Just before we do get too far into things, remember with Army Geniuses, we've been talking a little bit about some of those roster changes. Well, we'll see one of them in that one there with Naaman, aka Hustler, aka whatever you want to call him. He's now playing for them in the position 4 role. Oh, top lane, Mavis.
Oh, no, Mavis, not like this. One more right click. Verify ain't gonna do enough for Stylus. Well, I was questioning on how he would be able to fit with MY and picking up a first blood and a second kill for MY down bottom onto the Tidehunter.
Again, their laning has always been very solid. It's just how are they going to be able to bring it together? I feel like they've got all the tools to make that happen, though. And look at this from KNP. Very cheeky, making sure to pull this wave all the way back underneath his own tower. Oh, sorry, behind his own tower, just to make it really safe for him to be able to farm. And with Lion Axe, of course, you're very safe as an Undying there, just to be able to put your body in on the front lines. Kind of unorthodox build, too, going into the Boots of Speed. Doesn't have any regen left, though, so he has to be a little careful.
Yeah, big fan of this from the Wraith King. I mean, now you're pretty much denying a full wave of experience, you know, away from Xavius or away from Force as well. And Lionax is even going to bring another wave here to connect. So a really good start for MY down bottom.
Absolutely. Even the mid lane going very well. You've got the OD with a little bit of a last hit advantage, about 350 net worth ahead of Lelouch as well. So things going from good to better for MY right now.
You'd probably give the advantage to OD, right, in a lane like this?
Oh, absolutely. There's nothing that you can do. I feel like, yeah, that was a tactical death coming through there from the Undying. He just wanted to refill all of his resources back at base really quickly, sitting on about 20% mana, and he's even going to be able to bring out the Blades of Attack to the Wraith King.
Bunch of resources now. The Undying, so they can play a bit of a heads-up battle here with the positioning with the Crete Wave and maybe look to get aggressive because Force, I mean, he's only got one Tango left and Xavius has got a Selva as well. So big advantage for MY down bottom. So how's top looking for Polaris? They're kind of the lane that, as a Monkey King, definitely a lane dominator, but Mars is still one of the fewer melee matchups that can play into him very well.
Yeah, Mars is totally fine with it. You might get a few of those Jingu stacks up, but as long as you can spear him away, you're totally fine.
Sorry, has he got Soul Ring coming out on the Mars?
No.
Isn't that Tsumi going to end up going down? Cookie to try and reposition actually goes into Seri. They finally get the arrow afterwards, but Natsumi's going to continue to stand his ground and attempt with the mischief, but not a cute enough play to turn it onto Stylus. So in the end, a 1-for-1 trade.
Radiant's courier
He's going to be just okay with that on Stylus. Unfortunately, weren't able to deliver the urn in time to get a couple of those charges up.
Down. So. Okay, never mind.
This is some really nice play from Lionax, though, completely denying away. We've seen how good Force can be on this Tidehunter. He straight up wins them games from that offlane so many times once it gets to the late game.
So are you looking for Polaris now to put a little bit more emphasis on Force, potentially off the back of stacks at like the Ancients to get him out of this kind of rougher start that he's had?
Potentially. I mean, I feel like you can't really leave the lane, though, as the Rubik, though, to be able to get some of those stacks up, because if you do, they're just going to continue to dive you and start killing you again. Like, he's forced to go. This to me just feels like a farming ring of health, just something that isn't going to pressure you out of lane. You don't even really want to build into anything too much. Like, the Hood is okay against this lineup, but it's not like a necessity for mine.
So potentially just seeing a casual ring of health here for Force to at least keep himself afloat throughout the laning stage, and we'll look to see how he's going to itemize afterwards. Like, is an early blink on the cards because you maybe don't have a support that's able to make the plays?
Potentially. I mean, I feel like you've got a decent amount of team fight, though, with the Storm Spirit. It'll be Storm and Monkey King that are going to be setting up a lot of these engagements. You know, Natsumi, he's going to need to get quite aggressive. It's not one of these ones where you can just sit back and let things happen, because the Wraith King is going to out-farm you most of the time.
I mean, we've just seen the power of the Wraith King so far. Feels like every region has just put so much priority on the hero. You'd say, where would you put him in the list at the moment of the carries? I'm kind of, I put him in top 3 just because, saying he's number 1 is always subjective, but, where would you give him that standing?
I give him a solid top 3 as well. It just feels like no matter what you do to him in the laning stage, he could still just come back, because the skeletons are so great at being able to push out lanes. You can very easily rotate back to the jungle. You don't need to spend as much gold on resources. And then, of course, you've got the double lives as well.
Start to get a little aggressive on Force, mainly just to poke and prod. Get rid of some of the resources, but they can turn it back around. As Lelouch, his first rotation of the game, is going to try and bring down the Wraith King before the level 6, but has already burnt all the mana, and now they're going to be cautious, because BB, he's also going to look to get involved as well, with the Meteor coming back up in a couple of seconds, so he won't have the timing through the banishment, which will force him to use the Sanities instead to get rid of the Tidehunter.
Very nicely done. Top side. Seri's been left on his own. Oh, nice spear coming through there as well. While he was mid-air from the cookie, speared back the Monkey King, so he didn't end up dying there.
Overall, looking like a really good start for MY. All 3 cores sitting comfortably at the top of the net worth. And I mean, OD has got a big advantage, almost 1,000 ahead of his counterpart mid.
This is exactly the start that you don't want to give over to an OD. Rubik just sending his courier out there, sitting in the middle of the lane.
And just giving his life away as well. And they'll get the courier too.
Well, that's interesting.
That's one way to put it.
That's when I take a deep breath in my pubs and just be like, calm down, go get a drink of water. Things could be worse.
Things could be worse. It could be worse. Maybe it's just getting a free 125 gold thanks to the tombstone. But you're more than likely giving up your early tier 1 tower mid is definitely not something you're looking to play off the back of as Polaris. And they've got 3 heroes nearby. Maybe they can play aggressive now knowing the Astral's on cooldown, but they've still got to be cautious as they turn. Kill off Rubik thanks to the Astral setup. It is nonetheless a 1-for-1 trade, but NY, they have to be so happy with that considering they also got the objective.
Yeah, I mean, Undying's dying there. It's just diversionary, right? Like, he was basically like, don't look at the rest of my team getting the kills and taking this tower. He was just wanting to put himself in harm's way. He ends up dying, but he didn't have any mana left anyway, and you'd taken the objective that you wanted. So it was a good play by Lionax there, just to make sure that BB as well as Stylus could just continue to kill unopposed.
And do we feel like MY just going to continue to play aggressive now through the next couple of minutes? I mean, you've got the Meteor Hammer on the OD, so is he just looking to connect to top and find another really early tower?
Why not? I mean, you've got the arena available. He's done a good job of shoving in that lane. Right now, you just want to make a little bit of space so that the Wraith King is able to finish up that armlet for himself. He's already got the Helm of Iron Will coming out to him, just the recipe remaining now. And yeah, it's just about making those plays top where you can.
He's going to be able to cut the tree down thanks to the tombstone, but here comes the rotation to Polaris, looking to take the quick skirmish against MY right next to the objective. So we'll have all 5 heroes on Dire. Actually, Tidehunter's TP is going to get cancelled. Lelouch's got to be cautious. The Sanity's ready and waiting from BB. He's going to drop the hammer, but the damage not enough, but they can still turn out to Natsumi as he sidesteps the spear, but they've got the Asher, which should tick him over. And now BB's looking to chase for more. Mavis, Cookie up on the higher ground. He's going to be okay. So in the end, a 1-for-2 and a fight without the Tidehunter as well.
Yeah, just getting a little bit antsy with that Sanity, because I could see what
Mavis
they were wanting to do.
Still sticking around. Xavier's can he cancel? No, he can't. Unable to get in range for the telekinesis. Now Lelouch is going to be relatively cautious as well. Doesn't have too much health or mana to play with, but the Starstorm only level 2, so not going to be enough to secure the kill. As Lelouch up to a killing spree now, pre-10 minutes.
It's fine, but this OD is still 1,800 gold ahead of you,
Bottom lane.
You know,
KMP might need some assistance. BB's going to end up TPing down, and now they don't really have a cancel unless they want to use the Ravage, but with Tide posturing aggressively, BB will end up cancelling.
Yeah, I think he cancelled specifically because the Wraith King, he's level 8 nearly and doesn't have a skill point available to put into that reincarnation as a worst case scenario. So wants to make sure he could pick it up. Probably now that, you know, you've had a successful team fight, you don't have the arena, you've got the Tide Ravage available, he might opt to put 1 point into it, and yeah, he does. He'll TP up to the top side, and it's not like they're getting nothing in exchange, so MY, they're happy with this.
It looks like Polaris maybe trying to catch out the Wraith King on his farming rotation, but he's actually already shown top, so
might be BB that they catch instead.
Stylus going to be in a position to pop the smoke though, still. Lelouch going to look to start the fight. If they can get in range for the chain control, but now with the Astral might sit up, but I mean, Lionax is going to be the deterrent. Running forwards the Undying, simultaneously with the Mars as well, so they get the connection. Thanks to the point blank arrow. And Rubik, another casualty for Polaris.
I think that was he might say, oh, I was there, I was breaking the smoke. I think that was just a little bit of lucky movement coming up from Stylus where he was able to catch out that smoke. It was a good rotation, right? As soon as you see the Wraith King TP away, you know that there's going to be other heroes playing around that mid lane, and he was able to punish it effectively.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Still yet to see our first Ravage of the game. So Tide has completed the hood. Do we feel like how are Polaris going to look to play this game at the stage that it's in? Are they looking to play a little bit more reactionary and wait for MY just to run at them? Or if they use ultimates, does it then give MY an advantage to maybe posture and get some more objectives?
It's weird, right? It kind of feels like they want to get in a situation where MY, they're obviously feeling very confident with how this game has been going so far. So they'll be wanting to continue to press that advantage and maybe take some objectives based off that. So if you can look to take a team fight, don't use a lot of your ultimates other than the absolute necessary ones. Basically keep your Ravage. And then even if you lose the fight, cut your losses, don't lose too many of your heroes, and then just immediately come back and make the play happen again.
See, as long as they're really able to hold their Ancients on Polaris, then you've got space for at least the core that's able to pick up his farm. Monkey can get a lot more aggressive farm just because of how mobile he is, and Natsumi has gone for a build that's going to allow him to fight early. Is once again another support breaking the smoke from Lion Axe, but they should have plenty of damage to go through on the Undying. He's still actually going to drop the Tombstone, so maybe giving MY the possibility to take this team fight, even though the Undying's already been jumped. It's going to be Xavier's getting the kill thanks to the Astral stolen. So Zeri's on the prowl. Avis may have overstepped the mark a little bit too far as Seri drops the arena. A quick and easy kill as they trade a 1-for-1.
This is what I was talking about though, right? Like, this is exactly what Polaris are wanting. They give up one hero who didn't use his ultimate. You drop the arena and Tombstone and Flesh Golem. I feel like the time to make the play is right now on Polaris. So they're going to be shoving out the lanes as quickly as possible. Xavius might look to stay on that top side just to get one more wave out, but immediately look to try and make a play afterwards.
And we see that Xavius at the moment he's got the blink into the Aghanim Scepter queued up. We're kind of talking a little bit about the potential Aghanim Shard, which is going to be a great way to deal with the Mars. So I wonder if Xavius maybe reconsiders as the game goes on.
Potentially. I mean, are they smoking just yet? No, I'm kind of surprised that they've been taking it a little bit more passive right now, considering they do have the relative strength in terms of team fight. I suppose if they win a fight, they still don't have a way to take towers, though. You know, Natsumi, he's got the Echo Saber, which is nice for being able to fight, but it doesn't really do much after that point.
Yeah, maybe not this fight, but in 2-3 minutes or so, they could definitely take Roshan, though, with the little Shredder maxed out and even just level 1 in the Gush. So I guess that's an objective that you could consider for Polaris if you're able to succeed in a team fight in a couple of minutes or so.
I suppose so, but you could also potentially consider that for MY. I mean, you're only 300 away from Wraith King picking up Desolator. You've got the stronger team fight. You've got the mid control already, as well as the top side. You're on Radiant. So lots of things working out for MY right now, which is why I felt a little odd that they waited so long to make this play. Like, they eventually do smoke, but if Seri's on point with his TP, he's going to be able to react in time to this and actually have the Arena of Blood available.
Look at Lion Axe's positioning once again. They were trying to avoid the Undying. They'll still run into the Wraith King at the same time. That's a beautiful ultimate from Natsumi. So be able to kill off the first life and now also kill with the Tombstone afterwards to sit up. But BB's going to jump. The arrow just clipping the Snapfire at the moment, but it still looks like a fight that Polaris can turn it back around until Seri shows up. He drops the arena, but simultaneously forced, using the Ravage to hold back MY. BB's going to end up going down, but it's just Force and Xavius left standing here at the moment as a duo core from MY continuing to battle it out. Force needing a little bit more damage on Seri. Spear up in a couple of seconds. Pogo away. Mars will survive. And now KMP, meanwhile, almost crits down Xavius. The help of the Flesh Golem, giving him that extra little bit of survivability. But the Radiant respawns. I mean, Lion Axe is already back alive. And I look to provide some assistance. KMP, get out to dodge. So, it's the life of position 5. Or maybe it's not the life. Is he actually going to get away? No, okay. Force, he'll continue to hunt a good old Gush, and even with Lelouch thinking about getting involved, but well, a fight was starting to look pretty good for Polaris, but MY turning it around, still favoring Dire, but not as bad as what it was originally looking.
Yeah, and just imagine what that would have been like if they made that play like 30 seconds earlier, right? You don't have the Flesh Golem, you don't have the Tombstone, and you don't have the Arena. That is an overwhelming team fight win for Polaris. And like you mentioned, it would have been right outside that Roche pit, so they could have potentially gone and taken it.
We do see the power as well with how they're able to play around the Wukongs on that second life of the reincarnation. It made it very difficult for KMP. They did a good job at getting out and back in, but still, you know, that second life is often something that you're able to respawn and just run at the enemy team off the back of the slows.
This is what I do like, though. They realize their strength right now on MY. You've got the arena available. Not too much else outside of that, but you've still got the potential to be able to go straight on into Roche and take it immediately. Stylist with the good positioning as well. They don't have any idea that this is going on.
Oh, they know they warded in the area. They pinged it straight away, but yeah, now Scan's going to connect. But they'll be too late. And Tombstone, along with the, damage amp thanks to the Flesh Golem. Ah, good old Arcane Orb as well. What an ability.
Really nice play coming through for MY. This is Lionax's experience coming through for mine. Like, he is making them make the right plays at the right time. Always in the right position to start these team fights on the Undying.
Gonna disrupt the combo, Seri. Speed pushes him down to the low ground, now with the Boundless as well to set up for all the AoE damage. The artillery raining down Hellfire as they'll still find a successful team fight, even though they're playing into the Aegis disadvantage.
Not popping Ravage either, so you can continue to push on forward. You've got a healthy creep wave here as well. Still not quite having the raw damage needed to completely chunk through these towers, but Natsumi's got a BKB and didn't even need to pop it, so I'm sure he'll look to reform that Oblivion stuff up into an Echo Saber again, and then wouldn't hate to see him go something like a Desolator himself. Seen Mid One do it so many times on SMG when he played that position 1 Monkey King.
Did we see him go for like first item though? Like that's what I felt like we were seeing a lot of the mid one monkey go. Like it was an earlier item, maybe to get active, and I know you can farm really well as well thanks to the Boundless with that. Because I think you go, wait, what's one of his talents? I can't remember now. I think that extra damage early on, but like, is it a stage where now you still consider? I know you were saying they're going to lack kind of ways to take objectives, but so is that where the Deso kind of comes into play?
Yeah. That's it for mine. Like, you've got the little shredder as well that's going to be able to help you out, but I'm just still a little concerned that if they don't look to press the advantage that they have early, not even that they have an advantage, but this small advantage, right? Like, what could we even call it? Like a micro period, let's call it, where you've got ultimates, they don't, and they do eventually take the mid tier 1 tower, of course, very important, but you've still got this Aegis to play around on MY's side.
So you feel like Polaris, was it them you were just saying, like you feel like kind of have to pressure
just
early?
for that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they need to pressure early. Like, they have a small advantage of about 30 seconds, they take the tower. Great. Go back, get your items, start building into the Desolator so that if you win another fight, you can take maximum advantage of another one of those little mini timings.
They're eyeing up Force at the moment. Mavis is behind it, but with the reposition for the Spirit, it's going to put him too far away from the Snapfire. So a quick and easy kill from MY, getting rid of the Tide Hunter. Now they're also eyeing up Mavis as well. KP continuing to run deeper and deeper under these towers. Still got the cookie on cooldown, so an easy double kill.
This is it. I mean, he hasn't even died a single time, so he's going to have a great time in pushing in these towers consistently, even though Skeleton's soaking up a lot of those tower hits. There's just so many things about Wraith King that are stupid, basically. Like, you can do almost everything in this game. You got a stun, you got survivability, you've got control, you've got pushing power, you've got insane damage. Pretty nutty.
They might actually take the fight, Natsumi.
That was so close.
Almost getting the tree cancelled. They're still going to zip on forward to try and deal with the first life of K&P. Knowing that the Outward Devourer is not nearby gives them a big advantage to turn it back around with the second life. And they'll use that information perfectly as Polaris cutting off the King. That's the first life as well. So the first death for him this game.
First death. Tier 2 tower's nearly gone, and it did expend the buyback, and I'm sure that's going to be a bit of a learning moment for the BB there, just saying, look, the reason that fight turned out the way it did is because I wasn't there. So maybe they'll just look to wait for him to have the BKB and consistently just play around the rest of the team. I feel like from 23 or so minutes onwards, it's going to be a rare occasion where MY want to be too split up. I think they need to start balling up soon.
BB again, trying to find the setup. Mavis doesn't get the cancellation in time, but they've still got the Ravage to rock and roll with. But there's no extra damage follow-up as Natsumi finds the spear before the Ravage, so they're going to cancel out the Monkey's damage. And now with the advantage that MY have next to their tower, they've got the numbers just to overwhelm Polaris. And simultaneously, we've got a separate fight breaking out where we see the Mirana fall along with Xavius.
Is Lelouch going to die? No, never mind. Whoa! Oh my god. He had the damage of a time ticking from the Wraith King stun.
Don't lie, it was the baby Roshan. That's what kept him alive.
Absolutely.
Corey, so
Yeah.
dope.
Push on forward. Why not? I mean, again, you've got so much more ability to actively fight. It feels like Polaris, if they don't have that Wukongs and don't get the perfect setup onto KNP, they can't fight. I mean, he's just pushing forward with skeletons. That's the thing. You don't even need to be there yourself to be able to take a lot of these objectives.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
No, he went for the Wraithfire stun duration. Just seeing if he went for the damage or not. Yeah, what do you feel
I feel like just because it's against the Tide Hunter, as well as, I suppose, the Storm Spirit, two heroes that are decent at being able to stop the Skellies immediately, you just want to make sure you can maximize that stun duration.
And you are also like another way to set up for the Mirana arrow, so just extra duration maybe to allow her to get in a better position.
No, they're just pushing top, right? No glyph. What's stopping you? This time around, just have a look at where everyone is. They're all playing around where they need to be. They've taken the outpost. They know there's no way for them to TP on in. KNP, he just needs to finish up that BKB, wait for the second Roche timing, and if they don't make any big major missteps, this game is MY's.
The Ravage on cooldown, it feels like Polaris don't really have a window here to take a team fight. And then why they're going to use this to their advantage is BB looking to start once again on Force. Nice zip dodges the arena combination, so Polaris, a bit of a win for them in that regard. I wonder if they look to smoke now with the Ravage back up.
I mean, at this stage of the game, I feel like it's still too early to make a smoke purely to get kills. Maybe because they're behind, it's a little bit more understandable. But for mine, if it's, you know, before the 35 or so minute mark of the game, you need to get a smoke that gets not only kills but also objectives, whether that be towers or Roshan. And Roshan's still 2.5.
Not again. Okay. Wait. I mean, like you said before, and at the start of the series, it's all eyes on the experience of Lionax and how it can really pull MY together. And I think that's the third smoke that he's popped. So, doing an exceptional job at being able to read the movements that are coming out from Dire.
And, like, sure, they might make that movement and it pops the smoke, but again, what do they get out of it? Nothing. You know, these smokes are finite. So, for me, if MY wins this next Roche fight, they probably are going to win the game. It's going to be perfectly at around the same timing as the Wraith King picking up his BKB as well. Might even have level 18, which is going to be a fantastic boon for them. And this is the one where you probably want to give the Aegis over to... I mean, for mine, you kind of want to give it to the Wraith King, just because... I don't know, it's hard, right? Like, if they drop the Wukongs, maybe you die 3 times rather than just 2. But, I don't know. It's a little risky not to give it to the OD, who's kind of squishy.
Yeah, which we even see OD itemizing into a Hex. So not really going to help out with his survivability, but just giving them another angle to really start these fights, and a better way to kind of kill the Storm Spirit, though, who is still falling a bit behind on Lelouch. I mean, 4th in net worth, but compared to his counterpart, about 4,000 deficit, and with that, the BKB is going to make these fights very difficult to take. I wonder, though, real quick, if Natsumi going for this Maelstrom is like, all right, he's just going to look to really delay the game and split up the map. Because Radiant, like, their quick pickoff is a bit lacking unless you want to drop Arena to maybe cut down a tree and hope you get him.
Yeah, I mean, with the OD there, it's kind of okay, right? The Astral Imprisonment gives you some decent lockdown, at least force out that BKB and make sure that he just cannot fight or cannot continue to go for that split push. And it's even going to get worse once the OD gets the Hex, right? Blink Hex, anyone dies. Yeah,
definitely once he gets to that stage, but I think beforehand, maybe like, this is where we're going to see them look to stall out the game, give time for that BKB on Lelouch, and then maybe that's where you're looking to take a fight and turn it back around for Polaris. Because it's all MY favored at the moment with how exceptional they played the first 25 minutes.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Just the small things, like Lionax's positioning is always so good.
Oh, Lelouch under a ward. Baby, once again, finds a jump. He's even going to use BKB just to secure the pickoff. Oh, you got to hit the timing first if you're going to use your BKB like that. A big misplay.
looking
But now
for force here.
Yeah, Drew, just look at the damage from KNP. Hood's
That
going to do
damage amp.
nothing to protect you. He can jump on forward, even with the telekinesis to maybe reposition. He still will end up going down.
Actually not too bad for Xavius. He ends up stealing away the Starstorm, so with that Blink Dagger, you can kind of play a little bit like this Monkey King in that stalling role. You know, put yourself in a bit more of a risky position on the map, look to shove out these waves a little bit. But it's a pretty quick Roche respawn, and Lionax is going to be the one to scout it out.
Okay, so because Rubik going for these Aghanim's, what do you feel like is the ability that he's really trying to steal? Because
Astral.
Sure. Well, we were kind of saying in the draft they were needing some like saving aspect against the chain control and burst that MY are looking to play off. So, you know, if Rubik's able to steal Astral and with the Aghanims, then that will definitely give them that potential to play with.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if he's able to get the Aghanims plus the Aghanim Shard at one point as well, don't forget that that also upgrades anything that you're able to steal. So you steal that Astral, you're also able to walk away from things like the Arena of Blood as well.
Again, though, a time for Polaris to continue stalling. Down 10,000 gold, Age's advantage on MY, and they gave the Aghanim Shard over to KNP as well.
Okay, I mean, I probably would have given it to Seri, just because being able to lock down 2 targets
Bottom
is so
lane.
incredibly impactful.
Just quick and easy pick off. Nothing really too crazy, but KNP though is in the area, and he's got a double damage as well, so Natsumi's gonna have to stand his ground with the extra armor of the Wukongs, but Radiant again have this advantage of their location to be able to TP forward. Natsumi's not gonna be fast enough to tree dance away, so they'll cancel that opportunity. Lelouch at least is able to keep his life, but like you said, Seri just jumping in fast enough to make sure there's no escape for the monkey.
That kill, though, Lelouch has been able to get up enough gold to be able to finish his BKB. You've also, with that kill, nearly got it on your Mars, though. So he's going to be able to position himself a whole lot more aggressively. Just have a look at Xavius here, just trying to push these lanes as much as possible. That, plus the Monkey King, is doing a decent job at it, but you're still in a really good spot right now on MY.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
He's just trying to, again, play that diversionary style, basically saying, look at me, let my Storm farm, let my Tide Hunter farm, and Forcey's holding on to a lot of gold himself. Looking to pick up the point booster now, perhaps? Yep, and he's going to go into the Ag, so it feels to me like Polaris, they're going the stalling route.
When did OD get a Midas?
Very start.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
He used that, like, 2,000 net worth lead to pretty damn good effect after, like, what, the 7-minute mark?
Well, they're going to force him to come back here. And Polaris, you do have Wukong's back up. See how they can set themselves up for the defense. Still lacking the Aghanims onto Xavius as Lelouch. Trying to start the fight, but now with the ult set up. Lelouch, great timing with the BKB. No, now they'll turn their attention to get rid of the outward Devourer. The silence not giving him the opportunity now to Astral defensively, but the Wukongs instantly cancelled from Seri. Now the Arena as well, trapping in 4. But Polaris have been able to cut down the Wraith King, but it looks like it will not matter. They can respawn afterwards and push them further and further back inside the base. Natsumi still waiting in the tree line, finds a decent boundless strike. Polaris are going to have to play off the back of the buybacks here if they have any hope of turning this team fight back around. As they've killed off BB, now they can turn to KNP as well.
A little bit too keen, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I understand wanting to go onto the high ground, and I understand feeling yourself as well. You got to buy back out of the Snapfire, but that is not enough for mine. I mean, they could have very easily just continued to hit onto that tower, and you were only 300 gold away from the Sheepstick as well on the OD. So for mine, if you have that, that team fight is incredibly different. He eventually does pick it up with the massive Pidus as well there in his inventory, but I feel like that's just that tiny bit of inexperience showing through from MY. Obviously, you want to push high ground with that second Aegis, but feels like they've kind of wasted it a little bit, not waiting for the timings that come alongside that second life.
Now you're given a window here for Dire's heroes to be able to pick up further items. I mean, that's Aghanims now on Rubik, and yeah, we do see the shards queued up. That's also 2,000 gold just after the BKB was completed on Storm Spirit. So almost Kaya for him. Big fight for them.
Realizes how choked out they are as well. Like at the moment, if you have a look at the map vision, if you didn't have a look at, you know, the kill score or hell, you could even look at the kill score, but the net worth, you would probably say that MY aren't in command of this game just because all of their vision is on their side of the map. So it's a whole lot more difficult for them to make any kind of plays. They'll be able to catch out the Storm with the...
Oh, they'll catch out the Lelouch top.
Yeah, but he didn't hex him.
He didn't. He played for the Astral instead, and now Lelouch just pops a BKB, zips out to safety.
It's another opportunity gone missing, though.
Now they're
playing around this Moonlight Shadow. Yeah, he's been pretty ballsy here. I mean, you've shown that
let's see if they can kill him the first time. They need detection. Gonna come through afterwards. Now they can set up the Wukongs for the second life as well. Natsumi doesn't want to play off the back of this, but now Lelouch getting back involved as well. They'll blow up the Wraith King. KP, actually getting the BKB off. The chain control not on point for Polaris.
Oh,
now they're going to be cautious because
the
BP wants to jump in. Looks to blow up the Monkey King, but Natsumi turns it with the BKB. It's still not enough life still to keep him alive. Force also goes down. So the spell usage from Polaris costing them 2 cores.
It was, again, I got to give a shout out to Seri. Every single time it seems like he's able to get that perfect spear onto the Monkey King right at the end of the BKB. That time around, it speared him next to this tree, and BB was finally able to turn up and capitalize on it.
Here I am.
Gonna be okay. Still, they get the catch on the Rubik. So now we're going to see the Hex coming into play.
It got close enough, so backdoor protection isn't going to kick in for a little bit. They might be able to get... No, never mind. They just get the tier 3.
Dire's middle
Zip.
barracks are under attack.
They tried to glyph it up as well just to make sure they could continue with the push. Should be...
Worked.
But the Gush as well to try and slow this down. You've got to be so cautious. That instant Hex play would definitely come out from BB. Full set of barracks, and now they're eyeing up bottom as well.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen. Dire's bottom barracks are under attack.
KNP, level 21. That Cleave talent. Reincarnation online, but Polaris starting to respawn to MY. Gonna respect the heroes and back up. Oh, never mind. Double back.
It's always the fake back in C, right? Can never just let him get a moment's breathing space. But still, this smoke, it kind of feels like, again, what is it exactly accomplishing? You know, they're going to try and counter smoke here to make a play happen.
Might not be ready for this. Force. Ravage still on cooldown as well before the fight, but look at the balance, holding 2 back. They're able to lay down the Wukongs as well, but Natsumi can't get in the middle considering because of the arena. Once again, Seri's able to cancel this, and now they need to try and protect Natsumi, but to the northern side, BB souling down Lelouch. Is able to blink away. Zip, Lelouch gonna go for a TP out, no way! Astral just there from BB. That'll be enough to tick him out, and now eyes back on Natsumi. That's trying to do it all by himself, but Xavius too late to offer some protection. MY, they still have KMP with the reincarnation, so they might just think about going back up the high ground.
I know they got that wave in the mid lane. Why not? Just push on forward.
They might be able to blow up the first life, and with Storm buyback, could catch them off guard. Oh, there we go. See how they continue to defend. Force has got the Ravage ready. They're going to play off the back of the smoke. See how quickly they can burst down the Wraith King. He's doing his best, actually. Force trying to jump at the BKB. Force, and now Force. Great use of the defensive Astral. It's going to give the Tidehunter an opportunity to reset. They still haven't brought back just yet, but maybe now they'll be forced to the spear. Finding the connection onto 2. BB's able to get the BKB off and turn it back around. The soul repeal.
Much healing.
So much health. Back to Seri. 4 down. And that's all she wrote. MY taking down the team that went undefeated through the Division 2. Yes, it's game 1, but what a way to kick it off.
Drafts win games, and that was a clear draft victory. You would say it's a slight victory. For why, like, what was it lacking, really? They had stuns, they had push, they had lockdown, they had team fight, they had pick off. They had everything you could possibly want. And I feel like their laning stage was a lot stronger than it probably should have been as well for MY. So just goes to show how close you are across the entire Southeast Asian region, that a single slip up can mean that you get one of these upsets like this. Luckily enough for Polaris, it is a best of 3. So it's not like one and done. You're still going to be able to potentially come back in games 2 and 3, but you're certainly going to want to tidy things up.
Yeah, I think we also saw the experience come through from Lionax. It definitely felt like he was that stable, calming voice that was able to command them in positions through the early to mid stages to really give them that lead. And we saw throughout the later fights as well, just how broken this OD hero really can be when he gets farmed.
22 and 6.
Like
I didn't even realize it was that much.
He went crazy on BB. It was an exceptional game, and I wonder now if you're going to consider banning out the OD, or maybe with first pick you consider it as well, because I mean OD fares really well into a lot of spirit heroes, and that is Lelouch's your hero pool without a doubt. So I mean, for MY, an exceptional way to start this one off. Of course, it's only a game 1 victory. They have to come back and replicate this in game 2 if they're going to look to move on and put Polaris down to the lower bracket. But we'll send it over break. We'll see you guys shortly with game 2 coming up.